What's up, guys? Jester Bell is here, and if you clicked on this video, it is your own loss because this is going to be a pretty gross video. Maybe you're a person who is here because you saw my tweet on Twitter about how DC Comics released a comic book where the Joker had become pregnant. Oh, okay. I know you don't believe that this story is true, but it is. So I'm gonna get through the. I'm going to explain to you what the comic actually is. For those of you who don't know, I do reviews for the site called Batman News, and I've been reviewing the main Joker comic, and so that is how I came across this. So this comes from a series called Joker, The Man Who Stopped Laughing, and it basically, they're trying to do a Joker ongoing series, and it's by Matthew Rosenberg as the writer, and he's also doing the backup of the comic, which has always been this kind of weird, old-timey comic homage. Each backup is trying to be somewhat comedic, but it's also kind of dark, and it's got that kind of old-timey comic artwork for it. But he released this backup in the most recent issue that was out at the beginning of January, just yesterday as of the recording of this video, and this is what happened. So it starts off with the Joker meeting Zatanna. He's fighting Zatanna, and he apparently went after her because he thinks that they'd be great together, that they should get married, that they should have kids, and this has been a very odd motif in the book because each one of these old-timey comics, at least almost all of them, has started with the Joker at the mercy of a superhero, female superhero that he's become enamored with. And that's weird because that's never really been the Joker's motif. I don't really know what the writer is doing with that. I don't know if that's one of his fetishes. We will just see as we read this comic. So then the Joker wakes up from his encounter with Zatanna, his battle with her, and she has apparently put a spell on him. I think that's the implication. But he wakes up, thinks it's all a dream, and then finds that, well, he's pregnant. But is the Joker shocked by this? No, he just does what any man who's just discovered that they're pregnant does. He goes to the hospital and prepares to give birth. And then we get a sequence where the Joker, and I think it's like Dr. Atomic or whatever his name is like getting up into him and is like helping him push. And it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. If I had to see this image, so do you. But the Joker, despite being just, pretty much fine with giving birth, ends up throwing up, and he throws up this mud creature. Yes, he throws up a mud creature. Then this crazy chase ensues, and some characters get shot, there's gunplay, but then they find the mud creature again who's run away, and find that he is transformed into a child version of the Joker. The Joker takes a liking to him, looking like himself. He then adopts that child as his own son, and takes him to see Zatanna, saying basically, look what you could have had with me, and the comic ends there. What on earth did I just read? Okay, we might be shocked by this being published, but there is an explanation. The explanation is that the writer did his first comic, his story for the comic, and then he went and did the backup issue, got high on a very, very special kind of weed, and then wrote out what delusions came to his mind. That's not shocking. There's an explanation for that. But what is shocking is that DC editorial let this really bizarre, in a bad way, story get out there and come to me to be read, to be reviewed, which I gave it a very, very negative review, and then to be ridiculed by everybody else. I mean, who wants to read this? But this has been happening a lot with DC Comics. Like, I did a review for, like, T. Franklin's Harley and Ivy, the Eat, Bang, Kill tour, which is basically the writer making up a softcore porn where she inserts herself into all of the characters. There's just been these very weird, like, fetish references in comics, and just so much stuff that makes you go, there was that weird SMN Harley and Ivy bondage story. I've been reviewing all the clown books, so that's why I know all this stuff. But it's like, how does DC Comics editorial keep letting this happen? People hated it when Dan Didio was like a CEO of DC Comics, but since he's left, it's like there's been no leadership over there. It's like DC Comics is being run by raccoons. And there's a lot of controversy around comic books right now, and people say, well, anyone who dislikes what's going on with comics is just one of those right-wing culture war YouTubers. I'm not one of those people. It's not that this is something that you're not going to like if you're just a right-wing bigot or whatever. No, this is someone with general decency is not going to like this. I don't want any part of the culture war, but I'm reading this and I'm like, how can you let this get published? This is disgusting. I don't want to read that. I gave this book a 2 out of 10. I'm like, I don't want to read this. I don't want to be exposed to some writer's disgusting fetish that he thinks is funny being inserted into comics. But what I would say to people, if you are a person reading comics, I get to read them for free because I'm a reviewer. But if you are buying comics, like, what are you doing? This comic that this story appeared in was $5.99. That is how much gas has been priced per gallon in certain areas this past year. If you have $6, are you going to spend it on gas so you can go to and from work? Or are you going to spend it on a comic so you can see the Joker become pregnant and try to give birth? It's a tough choice. But anyway, I implore you, if you are still spending any money on comics, to not to. I'm not sure how much longer. I'm going to keep this reviewing job because I want to practice writing my reviews, but there is just nothing good to read in comics. Nothing that I would recommend. But thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you for suffering through this disgusting comic book with me. If you want to follow my Twitter, then the link is in the description. Also, if you want to support me on Patreon as I wade through all of this disgusting movie and comic book nonsense, please check out that link below. It costs only $5 to become a patron. And you can also check out my original review for this comic on Batman News. But thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you guys next time.